All right. Hello, hello, and welcome to Women's Wellness Feature. And this month we're featuring Nathalie Biermanns. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Perfectly, actually.
Yay. And Nathalie is a Reiki Master. She also has a Reiki school where she teaches others how to be Reiki practitioners. And her business is called Hollywood Reiki School. Uh,
Studios. Hollywood Reiki.
Studios.
Yes.
Hollywood Reiki Studios. And I'm so excited. Nathalie is a personal friend of mine, and I'm so excited to have her on here. And also, I'm hosting her at the Wellness Connection this month. And so you'll be able to book with her to get an amazing Reiki and channeling session for the month of September, but beyond as well. So Nathalie, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and kind of how you grew up, where you grew up, and what brought you here to LA.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me, Louisa. This is wonderful. So my name is Nathalie Biermanns, and I'm a Reiki Master. I'm the owner of Hollywood Reiki Studio, which was founded in 2021, actually during the pandemic, and it was never really, I've been practicing Reiki since I was like 20. I believe I was 20, 19 or 20. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, so it's been over 22 years right now. So yeah, it's been a long time. And Reiki I grew up in Aruba, which is a very small island in the Caribbean, right in front of the coast of Venezuela. It was colonized by the Dutch, and now it's independent since 1986. It's an independent island, and so I grew up there. I was born in Holland. I grew up in Aruba, and in my early 20s, actually after the whole Reiki initiation, I moved to Amsterdam. And so I was certified Reiki 1 in Aruba. But before I talk about like what is certification, what is a Reiki 1 attunement, what is a Reiki 2 attunement and a mastership, I just want to talk a little bit about what Reiki is, because you're probably like questioning yourself right now, like, okay, but what is Reiki? So you've probably, yeah, you've probably heard about it somewhere. A lot of people kind of know already what Reiki is. And just to say it in my own words and my own experience with Reiki is and what I've learned. So it is a Japanese healing art technique. It was rediscovered by Dr. Mikao Usui, and in the 1920s, yes. So what really happens, it's an energy healing art technique. So basically, if you look at us as energetic beings and everything has a frequency, Reiki in Japanese, it means life force energy. So it is the abundant energy that exists around us and through us. And so we have access to that. And it's a very high frequency. So as we move through our day, and this for me, this whole concept took me 22 years to really get a grasp of like, okay, but how do I explain Reiki and what happens? And when I was attuned to Reiki level 1, I found it like very vague. And I'm like, oh, we're energetic beings. And what is it exactly? But one thing that I knew was, after my attunement and being able to give myself Reiki, that I myself was like, wow, I feel so much better after a session. I feel so clear. I found a sense of clarity, a sense of calmness, and also like I felt very centered. So that's the only thing that, like why I kept on practicing. And I know, like at that time, now people are more open to, the fact that we're energetic beings and everything has a certain frequency. But back then it wasn't really things that, you talk about. And So I was very private about it. And
Yeah.
I just knew that I felt better after each session. And I felt more of a better like alignment and direction in my life, and more heading towards like something positive, instead of being pulled in by negativity or things that weren't good for me, but that, weren't serving me, or that would, bring me down. And so, because what happens is when you start practicing energy work, it's you enter a different state of awareness, and it really helps you. And so whatever is not serving you really doesn't feel good anymore. And so one of the things that became very important for me is to live an honest life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it starts with me, with how I feel. And then when you live an honest life for yourself, you can start being honest with the people around you. And um, you get out of these things of like, let's just say blame, for example. Yeah, really getting like the strength to take like full responsibility for yourself. And that's really what I've thought, like what I've learned from Reiki, is to really take full responsibility for myself. And that's a scary thing, because
Yeah.
then you really start to realize like, okay, this is my life, I'm going to take full responsibility for myself. And so there are things that I need to work on for myself.
Yeah.
So Reiki level 1. What is Reiki level 1? Reiki level 1, for each Reiki certification, there is an attunement process. And why is that? So it's really to connect you to this high frequency of energy, but it's also, and this is like the way I teach it in my academy, which I find so important, is that with energy work, and I tell that to all of my students who go through the academy, there comes responsibility. Yeah. And here I tie it back to taking full responsibility for yourself, right? And so with energy work, there comes a lot of responsibility. And so it is important. And energy work is really, what are your intentions? Your intentions need to be pure, they need to be of light.
Yeah.
And so when you start practicing or have the responsibility to do this type of work on someone, your intentions must be correct. They must be
Right.
of light.
Yes.
So Reiki level 1 is hands-on Reiki. So that's basically probably what all of you or the people who know about Reiki know. It's like this hovering the hands, like on above the body. So you're not really touching, you don't need to touch someone, but it's like slightly hovering above it. And
And is Reiki one, this is like if you are training to be a Reiki practitioner, or is this in your sessions, like when you work
no,
on?
I'm talking really about like becoming a Reiki practitioner. And so what I'm going to explain right now is really about like you becoming a practitioner. So if you're an aspiring Reiki practitioner, this is like a great thing to watch. And then I'll talk about like how I do my sessions.
Yeah.
So that's Reiki level 1. So with Reiki level 1, you can give yourself Reiki. You can give your friends, your family Reiki, your loved ones at home. You learn like the symbol, you receive the power symbol, the shokure, and that's basically like the attunement. You receive an attunement, a certification, everything, and so you can start practicing Reiki. You
Yeah.
learn about history of Reiki and what Reiki really is, and also what it means to have this responsibility.
Right.
Um, then you have Reiki level 2. So in Aruba, I got certified for Reiki level 1. And basically what happened then is like my life completely changed. And this might sound scary for some people. But things that weren't like aligned with me, or weren't like weren't at like good for me, for my path, for my life, for the person that I am, these things were like falling off. So I had
Yes.
a lot of friendships that I lost, a lot of like work as well. And my
Yeah.
life, it kind of like it stripped away everything. And suddenly I
I
was in a
feel like
place.
that happens with a lot of different healing modalities. There's
Yes,
many ways to get there, but when you get there, it is like an overhaul of your life. But I feel like it's so important because a lot of us are living not in our full truths and working at jobs that we don't really fulfill,
correct.
or being around people that kind of drag us down sometimes, or
Exactly. And you're saying like a very important thing, like not living your full truth. And that is also not living your full potential. So
yeah.
what happens when you get this attunement, it sounds very scary because we people, we don't like change. The moment change happens, we go like, oh my God.
It's scary.
It's scary. It is scary. And we don't like it, but it's really trusting to go with this flow. And this is one of the things that Reiki really supports you in, is giving you the strength to live your truth, giving you the strength to live your fullest potential. And that's why I love Reiki. And so, it's kind of like I needed a full, clear, new slate. And so there I was with one suitcase on my way to Amsterdam. And so in Amsterdam, my first Reiki practitioner, her name was Annette, or a master, sorry, because only masters can attune people.
Mhm.
And so my second Reiki master, who attuned me to Reiki level 2, and I'm going to talk about what Reiki level 2 is, her name was Annette. So there was something with Anita, Annette. And I found her through my mother, and my mother isn't very much like Reiki and meditation, but she's very much like very open and very, she's also very spiritual, but in her own way, And so, but she had a friend who would go to Anita, and I think my mom went like once or twice, and she was like, this woman, she's really good. You need to meet her, because I was so depressed when I arrived in Amsterdam. I was like, ah. Um, and I went to Anita and my life changed, you know. Um, I kept on going. In the beginning, I was taking like weekly sessions with her. Every week I would go. I was suffering from real depression. Um, I was really hurt about things that happened to me in the past and a life I had to leave behind and how things didn't work out for me. So I was kind of crushed. And it was very difficult for me to transition from Aruba to Amsterdam because it's like beautiful sunny island with white beaches. And then, I mean, Amsterdam is beautiful with the canals and everything, but I didn't like it because
Yeah, it's definitely more, isn't it more like cold and rainy?
it's cold and rainy. And, I come from this very small island and suddenly I'm like in this big city and I need to take like trams and bicycles. And it was so overwhelming and constantly rain. And so it was a big transition for me, and I had
Yeah.
to like make new friends and anyway, so it took a lot for me to get into a place of like acceptance that was my real life, because I always wanted to live in Aruba back then.
Mhm.
So I started going to Anita, and she would give me like weekly sessions. And after each session, I would feel so great. I would feel light. It wasn't like my mind didn't feel chaotic. I had a sense of clarity or of where I wanted to go, the choices I was making better choices. And
Helped to calm down. It helped to kind of calm down the
it
inner
helped.
chatter.
Yes, the inner chatter. And for me, it was really difficult at a time to meditate because I was like a girl, I was all
Yeah.
over the place. I was always running around. My grandpa would make jokes of me like La Paloma, so the dove who always like runs in and out and leaves like like a feather behind. So it was hard for me to meditate, but
Mhm.
this is one of the, but Reiki did work. you know? And so I held on to that. And I wasn't like, I think like my mom was kind of the only person who knew I was practicing Reiki. And from Anita, so with Reiki level 2, you get like symbols, yeah? So many different like ancient symbols that contain a certain frequency. And with Reiki level 2, you can do like distance Reiki. And that there's also a symbol involved in that. So when you're going to be sending Reiki at distance, so that's right now we call it virtual Reiki, and people have skepticism around it. But before there was any Zoom and internet and everything, there was already Reiki happening because we're all connected to each other, you know, like in the world of energy. And so,
so before Zoom, you could still do remote Reiki. So you
yes,
think of like your grandfather who's sick or something like that and perform
yes,
it even if you weren't in the same country.
exactly. Yes. So like, you know, my Reiki master in Amsterdam, like let's say I had like a big assignment for school, or I was very nervous about something and I felt like I was not able to give myself Reiki, then she would be like, okay, what's the date? What's the place? And I'll send you Reiki, and I would feel it. And also when I moved to LA, when I went through like really challenging times and I needed like energetic support or strength, you know, to
Yeah.
pull through things, because, you know, I'm an immigrant here in LA now, and it wasn't easy in the beginning. And so
Yeah.
she always supported me, and there wasn't, you know, I would like email her and ask her, can you give me Reiki? I'm going through this. Or, you know, when my son was in the hospital and very sick, you know, I was asking for, can you please send my son Reiki? Can you help me with Reiki so I can be like calm around him? And she would also like, she's seen certain things that were happening, you know, like with his health also, that kind of like gave me a direction how to talk to doctors, or like, hey, can you look at this or this or this, you know? I was just like
So she
double
was
checking.
receiving like messages or
Yes. Yes.
information about his
Yes.
condition. Wow.
Yes. And so, you know, and this kind of like, it was like, it's more like a support. And I always double check everything. It's not like you blindly go into an advice of
Right.
someone, you know, always keep that in mind. But it was kind of like, okay, yeah, interesting that you're saying that. I'm gonna check this with the doctors, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then leave it up to the doctors, of course. But you know, like these things, and I found it so fascinating. You know, I was in LA having these things, and she's all the way in Amsterdam and doing this, and it was, you know, it was such a support, and it was so beautiful. And so after, you know, like, so with Reiki level 2, you have different frequencies. So there's a frequency, there's a symbol we use for mental and emotional balance. There's a symbol we use to send the Reiki. There's a symbol we use for really activating symbols like more intensely if that's needed. There is a symbol we have for calmness and peace, like especially like someone is having like an anxiety, like it calms you instantly. And there is a
Symbol
symbol.
that is this something that you will sort of envision for the person?
Yeah. So like if you receive like a Reiki level 2 attunement, you will be receiving, there's so many symbols, but you will be receiving like the symbols in a workbook. And yes, I mean, now they're all over the internet, and that wasn't like like Dr. Mikawa, so he never
Right.
wanted that, because he was very much like, you know, with energy work comes responsibility, and he wanted for the Reiki masters to be using this like responsible and with light, because you can,
Yeah.
you know, so
That's
but
a big problem with a lot
yeah,
of different
yeah,
modalities now. And anybody just like looking things up on the internet and like
and just doing, you know,
they
and
don't have
yeah,
the lineage there. They don't have
yeah, and
that.
it's, yeah, and that is the thing, it's so important. You can't just like go around and play around with energy, like don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that at home, guys. Not a DIY.
Do not try this.
Do it yourself, practice. Don't get yourself into that. But Yeah, so you receive like all of these different frequencies, these symbols, and they contain a frequency. Like it's like releasing karma, or it's more, for better flow of communication, or releasing like blocked energy. There's so many different things, and so that is like very important. Like if you come to my academy, my process is not fast. Like you have like all of these courses. It's like, oh yeah, 250, and you get like certification 1 or 2, and you're not really knowing what you're doing. So, and this is like at my academy, it is really like, no, we're gonna dive in deep. Like my masters, they've been with me for so long. I have like, so Reiki level 2 is a 6-month training. Reiki level 1 is a 6-week training. And so you can't also like, it can't be fast because they have like these symbols. They're very powerful. They
Yeah,
contain frequency, and you need to integrate them and sit with them also. So we really go into the depth of each symbol and how you connect to the frequency and what you learn from this.
yeah.
So this is really like how you study at the Hollywood Reiki studio.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what
so
I like about like when talking with you, because I think the one thing that I get from you is that it's very your practice like holds integrity,
yeah,
right? So you're not just like, I feel like that has also happened in a lot of different areas. Like I see it a lot with yoga instructors, like
yes,
it's a way for like these studios to make money. And I understand like as a business you have to make money, but it's sort of exploitive in a way. And I feel
yeah,
like it gets watered down. And then you have just like all these people that aren't like 100% with what they're
exactly.
teaching.
Yes, and so, and I find integrity really important, especially like, and having the right intentions at the academy.
Yeah.
So Reiki level 1, a lot of times I have like a little bit more people joining the class, and it's always like a little group. It's not too big. And then the mastership program gets very small, and
Right.
it's really not about quantity for me, but it's really how I'm gonna hand off this information to you and this practice to you, because Reiki level 2 is connected with the mastership in my academy. So it's Reiki level 1, and you have Reiki level 2, and attached to it there is the mastership, and then we have the summit where the masters are graduating on, and we have like big events and guest speakers and everything, and this platform where they can really practice
Mm,
like the virtual Reiki, the
yeah.
distance Reiki.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it's really more, for me, it's really important who these masters are going to be and what they're going to be doing with their work. Like once I give the certification, it's out of my hands. So the
Right.
only thing that I can do at the best of my ability is to teach this with integrity, with love and light and respect,
Yeah.
and really try to hand that over.
Yeah.
And I trust that they will hand that over to others as well, because that's the whole the intention, of
Yeah.
this academy.
Yeah.
And then you have the mastership, and the mastership is holds the
So that's beyond
responsibility.
Reiki too.
And that's, yes. So that's after Reiki 2, and you can attune people um to Reiki 1 and 2. So you can
I see.
yourself certify people to that. So
Yeah.
right now in my in the Reiki Academy, how I have it right now, and I think it's going to stay like that, is like I have the first one, which is Reiki level 1 certification, and then the second course, which is a 6-week program, and I only enroll like twice a year,
Mm.
not more than that. And I have the second course is Reiki level 2 and mastership. They're kind of like, but this is a longer. I used to do it like as a 3-month, but as I was teaching and teaching to and creating, like and teaching how these practitioners can become
Yeah.
masters. I realize like a lot of times during the journey, it would be like, hey, we need like a week pause, because people really need, it's like, whew, it's,
You need to like
like I
with
need to integrate this. I feel like having, and it's not that they're going like through all sorts of pains or nothing like that. It's really, everything is very uplifting and positive, but they themselves, there's a change that needs to happen. And so they kind of like need to discover that in their own pace. So I also, when I'm teaching, there's also like the pace of the energy that we have to listen to, and we listen to it. So that's kind of like, yeah, it's a 6 month, or maybe it's going to be a little bit less, but I always tell the students like, hey, we're working with energy. So we need to kind of like, we need to go with that flow. So it's not like a machine. We're working with energy here.
yes, right.
And like run the company like that. We're not
Yeah.
machine. We're working with energy, and we're working with it with, integrity and with respect. And we need to learn to listen and really listen to our intuition and to these frequencies. So we're really connected with that. And so going over, I do offer, sessions.
Right. So
But
you have your school and you teach people how to be practitioners, but
yeah,
you also have your private practice where you practice Reiki on clients.
correct,
Mhm.
correct. So Hollywood Reiki Studio has like a couple of different things, because we have the academy, the Reiki certifications, yeah. But one of the things, and so these are in group, or if you prefer to have private, I do have some clients who are like, I don't want to be in group. I really want to be private.
Yeah.
And we can discuss that and the reasoning for that and all of that. And so, that's always a thing that we can work out.
Mhm.
I also offer single sessions. I used to offer them like a lot. I go very much into groups now, but at times I have a certain amount of people that I can do per month. I used to
Mhm.
do like, I used to do like 4 sessions a day, 5 sessions a day, not anymore.
Yeah.
Have like 900 hours of virtual Reiki under my belt.
Wow.
And, my mastership. Oh yeah, let me tell you about my mastership before I head over to the single sessions. But the mastership I received here during the pandemic, I was attuned for my mastership over Zoom. And so I was attuned by Heather Sanderson, and she's amazing. And so she attuned me. She was in she lives in New York, but at the time she was in lockdown in Canada. And so she attuned, and during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I'm ready for my mastership now.
Mhm.
And she attuned me to my mastership. And 2 months later, Hollywood Reiki Studio was born, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I got this thing. I'm like, okay, I need to set up a business now. And I never thought I would do this as a business. And
Yeah.
so I set up the Hollywood Reiki Studio, and I started doing like all these sessions online and getting people together and giving like single sessions. And from that, the Academy was born. And so that all
Oh, so
happened.
it started in 2020. It
Oh,
started
2020 then, yes. I'm like,
that
in the
way.
pandemic for me is always like 2020, 21.
It's
It's
like,
always like a vague thing.
I think we're all like trying to forget
Yes,
about
the
those weird
pandemic.
years. But
It's
that's
like as much
beautiful that
for
this
me.
was born during that time.
Yeah,
And
it's
probably when
wonderful.
people really needed it. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Zoom
Yes.
sort of changed
And
my life.
so,
I had
yeah,
never used Zoom. I had never used Zoom before 2020.
I
And
know.
all the studios, everything
What is
closed.
it?
I'm like, how am I gonna work? And it's incredible what you can do online. Like
I
how you
love it,
work with somebody and what you can
like,
achieve via Zoom.
yes, it's really amazing. Like a whole new world opened up for all of us, right? And
Yeah.
so,
So that's beautiful. So you work with people all over the world. You have
yes, I work with
people in the
people. I
world.
have yes, I have clients in Australia, in England, in Amsterdam, in Canada, in New York, you know,
Amazing.
in Aruba, in Costa Rica, in St. Martin, you know, I'm like all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I enjoy, you know, about like working virtual, because we have these groups and these deep connections, and with everyone, like everyone's becoming like friends, and it's really amazing. And what I also love about it is like, you know, it's virtual, so you don't need to drive anywhere if you don't have to, you
Yeah.
know, you can just like put your Zoom on and you can lay in your own bed from the comfort of your own home, and I can give you a session, and it is as powerful as, you know, in
Being
person.
in person.
Yeah, so
And
it's
also, I just want to add though, you can do in person. And this month I'm going to be hosting you at the Wellness Connection, which is my
yeah,
studio.
I
And
am super excited.
I'm so excited too. I'm been starting to tell all my clients and people about you. And I think you know, I think people that have never done Reiki before are always skeptical about, nothing, something that seems like it's not tangible,
Yeah,
but energy is so tangible. And I try to remind people that, like, if somebody, like, sometimes when you talk about it as like healing work, energy work, it sounds to some people like it's whatever, woo woo, la la la.
yeah,
But everybody feels other people's energy. Like if somebody walks in the room and they're depressed or they're angry or they're upset, like you can feel it. Or we've all had feelings where we're like, like this energy feels off. Or somebody walks in the room and they're so happy and it can change the whole vibe of a room by somebody coming in with good energy. So, I try to remind people that like that is tangible. Like
yeah,
that it's very, very real and very important for our health and well-being, and
yes.
very important for anybody that's on their own healing journey. And so what I'm getting to is like, so I've received Reiki. I love Reiki. The first time I ever did Reiki, I I felt like I was floating off of the table.
Mhm.
And I also felt like my right side was a little heavier. So I felt
Yeah,
like in the air like this, and I
yeah,
literally had to open my eyes to make sure that I wasn't floating in the air because
yeah.
I felt like that. And I didn't say anything to the practitioner. I just was laying there and receiving, but she picked it up. Like she picked up, she was like, "Oh, I feel that there's something going on your right side. There's heaviness in the pelvic area on the right side," which I was like, "That's incredible," because I feel that. I can feel like the right side's heavier. I didn't say one word, and she picked up on it. And
Yeah.
then come to find out also when I was doing more like rehab musculoskeletal type of work, I
Mhm.
had some restriction and tightness in the right side of my pelvic floor. So it's
Wow.
not just
Yeah.
energetic, like I mean,
Wow.
it manifests physically too, and our
Yeah.
muscles and our skeletal structure picks up on it. So it's really all amazing. Like Reiki and energy work can help you with physical pain
Yeah.
as and
Definitely. And that's also like what Reiki is known for, you know, especially like when people have physical pains, you know, when you combine the two, it becomes like really something powerful. So I always say like Reiki, it's a, you know, it's a supportive uh, modality. It's there to, you know, to make it to support whatever is going on. Yeah, I even have like for example, one of my clients, her mother, she had cancer and she had to go through this horrible, you know, chemotherapy, and it was awful, and unfortunately she passed away. But um she loved receiving Reiki, you know,
mm,
and so she was so happy that she was able to certify through the academy and be there for her mom and give her Reiki, because it made her days like, it calmed her in certain ways, and
Yeah.
made it more like bearable. I also heard this from another woman who shared with me, like her mom was very Christian and she was like really against Reiki.
Mm.
And when she got cancer, she said, give me Reiki. I need someone who's going to give me Reiki. And so she made that happen for her mom. And she said, the Reiki made her, she passed away, but it made her days more bearable.
Yeah.
And so
Improves the
they
quality.
also have certain hospitals. I know they also have Reiki practitioners, to help support.
Yeah.
So, there's one of the things, like also, I also tell all of my clients, my students, like, you can never say like you're going to heal something with the
Right.
like, don't ever
Yes.
say that, because it's not
I feel like
true.
if anyone says that, just
Yeah,
no matter
just
what
run
you're
away.
doing, just run.
Yeah, so and this is it is really there, to
Support.
support you
I
for
love
support.
that.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
love.
And yeah, so I wanted to share something about, like my private sessions. I've been doing them online. I also have some private clients here in LA. I go to their houses, and now you're going to be hosting me, so I'm really excited and doing like more in-person things.
Yeah.
um and yeah, so but the virtual Reiki, like the sessions have been so magical and so beautiful. There were times, like I also, what I do, so when I have a session, what happens is that I'm very much, I have like certain rituals that I do, as in protections, and very, like this is like one of the things, like, and that's like one of the things that I tell my students as well, and I keep on saying that, is like, when you have someone who comes into your session, they're trusting you with
Yeah.
their energy. I mean, that's something very sacred and something very intimate.
Mhm.
So it is, our responsibility to handle this with responsibility, respect,
Yeah.
care, and integrity. So always check in with your intentions. And one of the things that I'm really stern about is protections
Yeah.
during sessions, like protecting yourself
On
and also
energy.
protecting
Yeah.
the client, yes, energetically. So, and I always explain what I'm doing and how so I will explain that when you come in. I will also explain what will happen and what you can feel, like you said, like I felt like my body was like this. So the sensations can be different, like you can sense like hot, cold, tingling. You can, a lot of times, I want to call it like a Reiki trance. You enter like this state of like, it's like an in-between.
I
And
feel that I have,
feel that.
that's what I feel when I am receiving Reiki. And I feel some like movement. I feel like I'm like
Yeah,
laying in maybe like very shallow water, and like
yeah,
it can almost, it like all of a sudden I can feel my own energy moving, and
yeah,
like sometimes it feels like this, or sometimes it's like going like
yeah,
this, and
yeah,
like that's one thing that I notice. And then I'll be like laying on the table, and I'm like, am I really moving? I
yeah,
feel like I'm going like this, but I don't think I am. I
yeah.
know.
You can feel like someone is really pulling something very heavy out of you, or
Yes.
there can be like
You
something can be
definitely
burning
feel
something. Yeah.
so much lighter after, for sure. Like
Yes.
getting off the table, you're just like, oh, like so renewed. And it's
Yeah.
really incredible, like, that not even, you don't even like actually touch the person,
No,
physically.
yes, exactly. And like one of the things that also always say, like some people can experience it very relaxing, but sometimes we're busy taking away like an energetic block. And you can see it like this, right? So for all these energetic beings, and we move through our day, and this and that happens, and someone says something to you that triggers something, whatever it is, like there's different frequencies that are happening, and some things can get really stuck, and so and dense in certain body parts, and so you take it out. So when I open a session, I have these protections on, and then I start to drop in. So I'm a channel then.
Yeah.
And so I myself, my mind goes like, I go very blank and I get there pretty fast.
Yeah.
Um, and that's like when I start to like, I read the energy, I sense the energy, and I start to get to work, and I see what frequency, what symbols needed to be placed where, so
So that's the channeling part of it? Is this sort of
no,
like,
I'm
oh,
just
separate?
busy doing Reiki. I'm just
Okay.
busy doing Reiki, and I go really deep um, wherever it's needed. And as I'm working, I am reading your energy. I'm reading where things are stuck or what you need to do. So once I am done, I sit down, or like if we're virtual, it's different. I'm already seated. Yeah.
Right, right.
Um, I will start reading for you.
Mhm.
And I always like have my eyes closed, and whenever you're like up and awake, because it takes time, I slowly get you back, and then the reading starts.
Yeah.
And you will hear what you need to know. And I always say, like, the channeling, whatever wants to come through, comes through. If nothing wants to come through, then nothing comes through. It's not like you can't, like I am not in control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you need to hear what's needed. And a lot of times the first session, especially if people haven't done like any energy work, takes a little bit longer. And I take my extra time then.
Mhm.
Maybe the next one is less, and this
Yeah.
is we move
I feel
forward.
like you do really, as a receiver, need to be open
Yes.
to some degree.
Yes, and you
Right?
need to train, and this is like as a receiver,
As a
you're
receiver.
yes,
Yeah.
as a receiver, yes. There's sometimes people, when they come in, they're also very nervous because it's like, oh, what are you going to do? And this is energy, and what are you going to be doing? And so I like to calm them, and I
Yeah.
usually start with the symbols that um, hold the frequency of calmness and peace, and
Love
love. And so then they relax and relax, and
it.
they open.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, we're almost out of time, but I did want to talk about the some of the projects you have coming up.
Oh, yes, yes. So one beautiful thing that happened, well, and here's what I say, right? I got my mastership, and some things just need to change in life, especially after a big attunement. And it doesn't always have to be like this drastic or dramatic or anything. And I remember when I went for my mastership, I told my Reiki master, I'm really scared for this attunement because I know something is going to change. And she said, when you were attuned, because it always happened with my other attunements,
Yeah.
and I think I'm ready for it. And she said, didn't it change for the better? And I said, yes,
Yeah.
but I'm scared of the journey. And so I got attuned, and 2 years later, I had to go through a divorce.
Yeah.
And what happened from there, I was like, oh, this is the mastership.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
getting teary
everything.
because
Yeah.
I know this story and I know you
Yeah.
guys.
It's,
Yeah.
it's yeah. And but something really beautiful came out of that.
Yeah.
And it is mama solo time.
Yeah.
So 2 years, it's been really hard living in LA without, like you are one of my community people, but when you met me, I was there at the ground where I needed to
Yeah.
rebuild everything because I
Yeah.
didn't have community. I don't have family here. They don't live here. They live in Amsterdam, in Seattle, in Aruba. Everyone's all over the place.
LA is so big and busy. Everybody's
Yeah,
so busy. There's a lot of people, they're just like focused on themselves, to be
yeah,
honest. And
yeah,
it's hard to find your new family and find your new community
yeah.
in LA. I feel like it takes years
It
to really
does.
build.
It does. And it was so hard. And I was like, how am I going to do it? And this is so hard. And how do single mothers do this? And so this is not a program only for single mothers. It is called Mama Solo Time because it's really to help you, like so basically what I do right now, I help single mothers prioritize self-care for on the go.
I love
And
that.
we had this beautiful summit that you were just part of, yeah,
Yes.
and everyone came on. We had so many amazing experts coming on and providing like short, like
I
quick
mean,
tools,
the amount of
including you.
the amount of information that you offered during the summit is priceless. I mean, and it was free to join in and
Yeah,
just you had all these amazing experts coming on, and yeah, it's really kind of incredible the
you
network
know
you have.
Yeah, and you were also part of it. You were there as an expert as well. And so basically what came out of this summit, and I've been interviewing over 70 women, yes, from single mothers to solo mothers to breadwinners to mothers who are, have their partners and raise their kids together. And there's so much pressure right now. And it's all about like, what do they need? What do you need? And like, how is self-care working for you? And so, there's a big pain in that. There's a big pain in like constantly like pushing yourself away and being there and being there. And there's so much pressure, but how do we take care of ourselves?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that everyone agreed on, and also the experts saying like they all wanted community.
Yeah.
And the experts were all saying like, because of community, we thrive.
Yeah.
And so right now we have the Mama Solo Time community where you can join, and it's just for $2.99. All of the experts who were there on the summit are going to be in this community. And if you really like it and have the tools, but you want more guided, you want to have like more guided coaching,
Yeah.
like a
Like if
program,
they want
then
to,
yeah, then you can
yeah.
join the Mama Solo Time guided program. And what will happen in the guided program is that the experts that are on, or there's going to be experts who are going to be providing like more tools.
Yeah.
However, every week is going to be themed. And so you'll receive 1 week Reiki, a theme that you're going to be working on with a self-care tool. And the self-care tools are like, it's like short because we don't have time. So it's like, it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes, but something that you can implement. And then
I love this.
the next week, it's going to be share your win with how you have been implementing this. Yes. And so you get inspired by everyone like using their tools. And so it doesn't like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to do like prioritize self-care. And you do it like great for 2 weeks and then
And then
life happens and you're
yeah.
like back to square one. No. And this is going to be very low price. It's going to be $19.95 a month. I decided I wanted it very low because it was hard for me as a single mom. If I went somewhere, it's like $600, $1,000. I don't have that. I need to take care of my baby. I need to make sure I
Yeah.
bring bread on the table, and I didn't have time. So
Yeah.
it's like micro self-care tools. You'll have all the guidance you need. You receive Reiki. You have community. You can get inspired by all the like-minded mothers around you. And just let's take care of ourselves. And
Yeah.
so you can go to my Instagram page, Rising Solo Mama, and you'll find the link there and you can sign up there.
Great.
Start
I'm
with
going to
the
post
community.
your Instagram handle in the description so people
Okay.
can find you. That's
Yeah.
the best way for people to find you
Yeah.
right now, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
just start with the community. It's so low priced, just start with the community. And then if you want to, you can try
Yeah.
out for 3 months and you can stay
This is
after
an
that.
online
This is
community,
all online. Yes, this is
and
all online.
everybody will have access to just little simple things. And that's what we talked about outside of this, was that it is hard because when you think of self-care, a lot of us think like, oh, I have to go drive somewhere. Oh, I have to go spend all this money. Oh, I don't have an hour. Or, you know,
Correct.
and when you like micro self-care is fantastic. So you are going to be offering quick 5-minute things. And the more people like get these little tools for their
Yeah.
toolbox, they can even come up with their own 5-minute thing, you know,
Yeah.
like on days where they can't log on.
Exactly. And you receive these things from experts. Yes. I make sure that they're like they're from experts. And so it's like it's from doctors, it's from everyone. Like everyone's coming on. And so you have this, it's super low price. It's like resources.
Perfect.
You can join, it's community, it's beautiful. I did it on purpose, have it low price because you know what? We have a lot of costs already, and
Yes.
self-care shouldn't be like
Yes.
that
Agreed.
expensive.
Agreed.
And it
That's
needs
what
to be
keeps people away
realistic.
from it. Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
thank you so much, Nathalie, for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank
And
you.
so your Instagram handle is Rising Solo Mama.
Yes, Rising
And then
Solo Mama.
people can sign up right now, like it's almost like a pre-sign up for the Solo Mama launch.
Yeah, so you
Mama
can sign
Mita.
up right now. You can join the community. Yeah, so you have a little tester, and then you can join into the Rising, sorry, the Mama Solo Time guided program. So we have
And then
Rising Mama Solo Time community, Mama Solo Time guided program. And the Instagram handle is Rising Solo Mama. Yeah.
okay. And I just want to reiterate, this is for any mom. It's not just
Yes.
for single moms. Any
Yes.
mom, all moms work hard. It's all mothers need self-care. And
Yes.
anybody can join that's a mother.
Every mom who feels they need more support and
Yes.
self-care and feels alone in that. So you can enjoy the journey of motherhood
Oh,
even more.
I love it. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
And yeah, I can't wait to get you in the studio.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm super excited to be like give in-person sessions. So excited to
Yeah.
meet you all.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Nathalie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.